former FBI Director James Comey is not worried about any tapes of conversations between him and President Donald Trump, a source familiar with the matter told CNN Friday, adding that if there is a tape, there's nothing he is worried about that could be on it. Friday morning, Trump issued a thinly veiled threat to Comey, apparently suggesting there are possibly recorded conversations between the two men that could be leaked to counter the former FBI director if necessary. James Comey better hope that there are no tapes of our conversations before he starts leaking to the press, Trump tweeted. On Friday, CNN's Jake Tapper reported that Comey was taken aback by Trump's request for a personal assurance or pledge of loyalty at a dinner shortly after he took office. Comey refused, saying he could not make such a pledge, but he promised to always be honest with the president. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer on Friday rejected the idea that Trump asked Comey to pledge his loyalty. "I think the president wants loyalty to his country and to the rule of law," Spicer said. The source said of the dinner between Comey and Trump on January 27 that it came at Trump's request and was one-on-one. Trump told NBC he thought Comey asked for the dinner, but the source denied the president's account, saying that if Comey had wanted to dine with Trump, he would have had to put the request in through the Deputy Attorney General. "It doesn't work that way. It's ludicrous," the source said. A few days before the dinner, Comey had already been told by the president that he would stay on the job, the source said. "It is absolutely untrue that Jim asked to have dinner or that he asked to have his job," the source said. "That is a complete fabrication." As CNN has previously reported, Comey's refusal to pledge loyalty is one of the reasons the president fired him, the other being the acceleration of the probe into alleged collusion between Trump's presidential campaign and Russia, another source close to Comey has said. The source said Comey knew it was possible he would lose his job, especially when he did not agree to pledge loyalty and later with the fallout over refuting the president's claims that President Barack Obama ordered the wiretapping of Trump Tower, but he didn't expect it when he was fired. The source said Comey is likely not going to testify next week to Senate Intelligence. As of Friday morning, Comey had not responded to the request. "He loved his job and the mission," said the source, who added, "He'll be fine." The source also confirmed previously reported accounts that Comey learned of his firing by catching it on TV. Initially, Comey thought it was a joke, and teased agents around him for teasing him. Then someone pulled him aside and told him it was true, the source said. The source said Comey thought at least he would get a phone call, adding, "The way Trump did it was remarkable." The initial, official White House version of how Comey came to be fired was that Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, fresh on the job, wrote a memo expressing concern about the way Comey had handled the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Trump's decision to axe Comey was made after he grew increasingly frustrated with him following a congressional hearing last week in which he said he was mildly nauseous over the idea that he helped sway the 2016 election. Trump's surrogates, including Vice President Mike Pence, have struggled to keep up with the shifting narrative on how and why the decision was made, and Trump tweeted Friday it was not possible for his team to recount details and talking points with perfect accuracy. On Thursday, Trump, discussing the firing of Comey, told NBC News that he was frustrated by the ongoing investigation and believed it was motivated by Democrats' fury at losing the election. Trump told NBC's Lester Holt, "And in fact when I decided to just do it, I said to myself, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story, it's an excuse by the Democrats for having lost an election that they should have won." Hours after Mr. Trump issued a veiled threat on Twitter in which he said Mr. Comey better hope that there are no tapes of our conversations before he starts leaking to the press, a report said the former FBI director had responded by saying he was not concerned. CNN said a source had said the meeting over dinner on January 27 had been requested by Mr. Trump, and that Mr. Comey had already been told he was going to stay in his position. "It is absolutely untrue that Jim asked to have dinner or that he asked to have his job," the network quoted the sources saying, "that is a complete fabrication." Meanwhile, NBC quoted a source close to Mr. Comey as saying, "He hopes there are tapes. That would be perfect." The proxy war of words between the two men came days after Mr. Trump announced he had fired Mr. Comey, claiming that he had taken the decision because of his handling of the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. Few observers believed that explanation. The White House has been scrambling to keep its story about the firing of Mr. Comey, something that Mr. Trump has not made easy. Initially, a succession of officials, including Vice President Mike Pence, said Mr. Trump took the decision after acting of the recommendation of Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. But in an interview with NBC, Mr. Trump said he had made up his mind to fire the FBI director before obtaining memos from the two senior officials in the Justice Department. Indeed, as it became clear that the documents had been hastily put together to create cover for Mr. Trump, Mr. Rosenstein reportedly threatened to resign. Regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire Comey, Mr. Trump said, referring to the ousted law enforcement official as a showboat and a grandstander. The FBI has been in turmoil, Mr. Trump claimed. "You know that, I know that, everyone knows that." Mr. Trump also claimed in the NBC interview that he had asked Mr. Comey directly if he was under investigation personally as part of the Bureau's investigation into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia's alleged effort to influence the 2016 presidential election. "I said, if it's possible, would you let me know? Am I under investigation?" He said, "You are not under investigation," Mr. Trump said. He said the discussions happened in two phone calls and at a dinner in which Mr. Comey was asking to keep his job. Mr. Comey has not confirmed Mr. Trump's account of the events. The New York Times cited two unnamed associates of Mr. Comey who recounted his tale of a January dinner with the president in which Mr. Trump asked for a pledge of loyalty. Mr. Comey declined, apparently, instead offering honesty. When Mr. Trump then pressed for honest loyalty, Mr. Comey told the president, "You will have that." White House spokeswoman Sarah Huckabee Sanders disputed the report and said the president would never even suggest the expectation of personal loyalty. Mr. Comey knew it was possible he would lose his job, especially when he did not agree to pledge loyalty and later with the fallout over refuting the president's claims that President Barack Obama ordered the wiretapping of Trump Tower. However, the manner in which he was fired came as a surprise to him.